Okay, I get asked all the time about boiling deer skulls. It's something I do on the side. I'm a very avid hunter and I don't like cutting my horns off my deer. So what I did back in the day, I learned how to do these European mounts. This is one of my finished products that my son killed this year. He killed that deer one day. It was on this plaque and on the wall 3 days later, maybe 4, depending on how much time I got off to work on it. But today's a very cold day in Alabama. My truck's in the shop, so I figured I'd take this time to make the little video of the whole process and show you what I use. Because I don't use propane. Propane is costly, it runs out, you're right in the middle of boiling, you run out of propane, or you got to keep a lot on hand. I make electric boilers using a water heater element and a bucket, and they work very well. And plus, they keep the temperature at a slow boil, because propane, when it gets really hot, will warp a skull. It will damage your skull, warp your skull. I learned the hard way, you don't use bleach, you use peroxide. I use Salon Strength 40 volume peroxide. I mix creamer and clear together, which I'll show you all that when I get in my building. But we'll go out there and I'll show you some I've got boiling. I started about 5 o'clock this morning and it's now almost 8 o'clock, so they've been boiling about 3 hours and we'll see what they look like. Also, they've been boiling in 28-degree weather, so we'll go see that shortly. Okay. Here we are in the shop. You can see the water's gotten a little low, but I was able to fit 2 in this one in that one over there. But it's a water heater element. You got to buy the conduit 1-inch fitting that you drill a hole in your bucket, you put the fitting in, then you just slide your water heater element through and screw it in, then wire it up. I use old extension cord, white to one side, black to the other. Do not tie the ground end anywhere. And extension cords do get hot, but I've had no issues and I've been using them for years. This one here has a new element. So I've had these for about 3 years and I just replaced the element in this one, and you can tell it's boiling pretty good. This one over here, 3 years old, it's still boiling. And I'll do anywhere between 20 and 50 skulls a year. Sometimes it's slow years for me because I advertise through Facebook. Facebook don't like hunting anymore, obviously. Not providing services for taxidermy anyway. So what I'll do, these are full heads. I leave the hide on simply because the hide draws up and it pulls that fat and meat with it. I also put a little bit of detergent in with my boil, so I just use some Dawn. And you can also put in some laundry detergent with borax. That'll help cut the fat, but I'm going to add some water to these because they've been boiling for 3 hours and I've been sleeping. So when I pull them out of here, I'll show you how I slice them up and take the jawbone out. From there, it's pressure washing the meat off. All right, I'm outside. What I'm finished to do with the skulls, it's been boiling for about 3 hours. Sometimes I do this a lot earlier, but like I said, it was cold. I got up at 5 this morning, started them back up and went back to sleep. I've got a good fillet knife. Any knife you want to use. Some guys like using scalpels. I just use an old fish fillet knife, and I've got a good hunting knife. And keep a sharpener with me. And for this process, I got a pair of wire snips. There's a bone that connects the tongue, and that's something you got to snip to get that. You ain't got to snip, but it makes it so much easier. You can just pull that bone out later. It's really not held in by anything but muscle. So let me get one and start showing you what I do. As you can see, I cut the ears off before I put them in the bowl. To me, that just allows more of that boiling hot water to get inside that brain cavity. But just like the Batman's Joker, you want to slip from here to here all the way back on both sides. Getting everything. You see how that just pulled right apart after boiling for so long? There was nothing to it. Sometimes letting it boil, the patience there is what a lot of people don't have. And I'm bad. I want to get it done. It's late. I want to get the stuff done, so I don't let it boil long enough. But right now, if my water hose wasn't frozen, I could probably take a pressure washer and have this thing clean in about 3 minutes. So both sides. And it'll just pop. It's just crazy how that hide pulls that meat away, and I cut up. It's like that right there, because you got to cut all this back here to get that jawbone to flex. People say they can't stand boiling deer because of the smell. The biggest cause of the smell is that tongue. The sooner you can get that tongue out, the better. And there you go. I usually put it back in. I'm gonna try to pull off some more if I can. And I didn't even have, as you see, I didn't even have to use the tin snips because I let it boil long enough. But sometimes these bones hold it, and you have to. I come in there and I pull it back and I snip them and go ahead and rip it out. But it's been boiling long enough, it came right on out. And that's what you would keep if you want to age your deer. A lot of people ask me to keep that part for them, not for the mount, but just so they could have their deer aged. At this point, I'm gonna go get the other one, do the same thing to it, and from there it's letting it boil and pressure wash it off. You want to use a small electric pressure washer. I have commercial. I'm a firefighter full time. I do this on the side, pressure washing. You do not want to use a commercial pressure washer on this stuff. I mean, you would probably just tear somebody's skull to pieces. But I've never tried it because I don't want to risk that. But my electric one works fine. I put a turbo nozzle on it where it spins as you do it. Takes it right off. Any bones that come off that you need, like sometimes on a young deer, the nose bones will fall off. Keep them. They just slide right back in like a puzzle with some super glue. Teeth. Always make sure you have all your teeth. Because what I do is I put a piece of tin down on a heel, run it into a garbage can, and I pressure wash on that tin, and all my excess meat and stuff goes in that garbage can because I have dogs and I don't want them dragging deer meat, and well, my wife doesn't want them dragging deer bone back in the house into their kennel. So, and I understand. I don't want it in there either. But, so it's good if you got a place to keep all your nastiness. But and I'll show you a video of that when I get there. All right, I'm back here. I couldn't have picked the worst day to make this video because my water hoses are frozen. It's still not above 30 degrees yet, so I've had to take a lot of this meat off by hand. And you can tell the little nose bones are gone. I've boiled it so long they kind of come off. They come out just like a little puzzle. They put a little super glue here and here, slide them right back in. Sometimes I put a zip tie around here to pull this right here back together, a little bit of super glue. But that's just from boiling. As you can tell, the skull is really dried out from the boil. That'll all go away. It'll come back to life. But I'm gonna show you a secret that I do. Using a pick and a big screwdriver, because I come in here and I bust all this stuff out in here. You don't want all that stuff. There's so much stuff, meat in that nasal canyon, and that nasal canyon, medical stuff here, in that nasal cavity. There's so much in there. You don't want to leave all that little stuff. It'll dry out and look cool, but there's meat inside of that, all the way up in these little holes and everything. So you just want to get in there with a screwdriver and break all that up and pressure wash it out, or forceps and pull it out the old school way. But if you come right here, what I call the eardrum bones, you'll find the hole where the ear was, and you get in there. And did you see that? I can't see the camera here, but when that pops out, it pulls a lot of meat with it. And you can grab that bone, there's one on each side, and that'll usually pull a lot of this meat with it. Then you want to take a screwdriver, and right where that bone came out at, bust you a good hole. This part's never seen on the display. This gives you a place to run your wire through if you just want to hang it on the wall. Plus it allows more water to get inside that brain cavity, more places for the brain to come out once you start boiling. Like I said, watch it pop. And like I said, that usually takes a whole lot of meat with it. Take that, I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Just make a big hole there. So now you got a hole from here all the way over to here. That's great for running wire through to hang stuff. Like I said, it helps you get the brain out of there. I'm pretty much gonna have to let these sit until I get ready to my water lines thaw out. And what I'm gonna do is drop them back in boiling water to heat that meat up, and then pressure wash it off. Because if I keep on the heat of that water, I just keep boiling, it's gonna wind up damaging the skull, and I don't want to do that. It's gonna make it weaker. So, well, finally got some lines thawed out, and this is my setup. I'm gonna pressure wash them right off into there. I'm gonna do a little bit of it, but I can't do it with one hand and filming. But Normally I can do this with most of the hide and everything on it. It'll take it right off, but I was killing time while waiting for my lines to thaw out. So I took some of the meat off, a lot of it. So this is how I do it. Like I said, I'm only going to show you for a short bit, and I'm going to leave both hands. You want to get in that brain cavity, and then that nasal, some eyeballs and all will come right off. As you can see the work it's doing. But like I say, you got to keep it on any teeth or nose pieces that come off. As you can see on this one, both nose pieces are there, but they're loose. They're probably going to come off just from overboiling. And on that one, they're off, but they'll glue right back on. All right, what we're going to do here, we're going to follow this bad boy. Since I got so many of them from start to finish, we're going to follow this one. And I'll tell you why I picked this one. It's because its nose bones boiled off, so that kind of gives you an idea of how this works. And as you can see, I got super glue and tools. But here's what I peroxide in. I buy 2 of those and 1 of these. At Sally's Beauty, it runs me about $14, and these are like $5 and something a piece, maybe. So you little over 20 bucks, and I've done many a deer in the same solution. I got a bucket of water just for rinsing my stuff off. Right now, I have a hog skull that I've done. It's the first hog skull I've ever done. And I've got it re-soaking because a lot of oil came out of it. Got to find me a pair of gloves. This peroxide will burn your hands, so use gloves to handle it because it's very strong. So what I got here, I've got me a catch bucket. And what that is this stuff is real thick, as you can see, the 40 cream. So it wants to hang in there. So what I do is I take my stuff out that I'm finished with, and I just put it in something like this so I'll catch my excess. I can pour it back in the other one once I'm done. So I'll take this one, and I'll just let it all run back into my catch bucket. And when I'm done, I'll take that and pour it back into my solution. All right. So what you want to do, you want to put this in a bucket where I'm going to use a shorter bucket for this one since the bones broke off. So that's as far as I want it to go, because if that peroxide gets on those antlers, it's going to take the color right out of it. So I keep an old paintbrush, and I take that stuff you saw that was real thick, and I just push it over the top. I know I'm not doing a good job filming, but I'm trying to work too. And if you do get the peroxide on your antlers, don't sweat it. I mean, all you got to do is find some wood stain that matches the color of your antlers, and you just stain them back. But I charge $70 to do these, and I don't want to be buying expensive wood stain, so I do everything I can to keep it off. And I've done everything from taping the antlers off and dipping them like all the way up into the antler, but this is just the quickest and easiest way, to be honest with you. It's time consuming. I don't have to worry about sitting here taping them off, and the possibility of having to I rinse my brush back out in my water so it doesn't harden up. But that's the process. And what I'll do is I'll leave that in there. I try to leave every skull in there for 24 hours. After 24 hours, you're going to take it out, catch bucket for a little while. Sometimes I just go ahead and rinse them off in water. And then I take wire brushes, picks, screwdrivers, X-Actos, and I'll just sit there and get all the little excess stuff that's on there, because that pressure washer does not get every single thing. Sometimes I've got a big pair of forceps. Here's a small pair. Harbor Freight sells a big pair for like $6, but that helps you get up in there and pull a lot of that nasal cavities and stuff out that you couldn't get before, or just miss with the pressure washer. And another good tool I use is air hose. First thing I do when I take them out of there and get all the peroxide off is I start blowing them out with a air hose, and that gets the most of it out. Anything you can't, there you go. Because the area behind the skull, which is why I dropped this one back in here, that can be very tedious, and that stuff does not want to come off, especially right there on the very back, on that back ledge. But it'll also harden up, and you won't have to worry about it. But I'm just really picky, and I want as much off as possible. And I also take my bones, and I got a little, this is really like for office pieces on your desk, staplers, not staplers, but thumbtacks and whatnot my wife had. Well, I use them. She didn't want them one day, and I took them, and this allows me to set them in there, and I don't have to fish them out, because I used to just drop them in there and you spend forever with your forceps trying to dig them suckers out without getting it all over your hand. Okay, so after your peroxide bath is done, which I recommend close to 24 hours or more, I would take it out. That right there doesn't really have nothing but the cream on it. I ran out of clear, so until I can mix some up, I just coated that one real good, and it'll eventually move to the bath. This is a completed one. It comes out of the peroxide bath, rinse it off real good. At that point, I start working on getting all the stuff that I've missed. I mean, I'll go all over this thing and just nitpick it with, I got an X-Acto, forceps, just anything. Wire brush. These little wire brushes are great for getting all that little cartilage stuff off the back of the skull. It's so hard to get off. You can just scrub it with that. So when you've got it the way you want it, and you're happy with it, you need to let it completely dry out, and the more it dries, the whiter it'll get. What I do is I come back, and I've got a cup there that's got mopping glue in it, and I coat these with mopping glue. I learned that from another YouTuber who does this for a living, and it gives it a little bit of shine, but not too much. And skulls are porous, so what's going to happen is over time, hanging in your house gets dusty, the skull absorbs the dust and the pores, and then your skull starts back to yellow. This mopping glue protects it. If you don't like the shine, it comes right off with hot water, but I recommend leaving it on there, because that way you can just dust it and come right off. So it's kind of like just something to seal them pores up. But like I say, if these things come off, they slide right back into place. Make sure you got the right fit, the right ones. If you're doing more than one, I've had times when I've got 4 different skulls and 4 different nose pieces that's come off. You got to keep them separated, but each one's for that skull. If these come off and I try to put another one from another skull in there, chances are they're not even going to come close to lining up, because it's like a jigsaw puzzle. But just a little super glue, stick them back together. If this part right here separates and is loose, you can put a zip tie around it and pull it tight, and then run super glue beads. Same thing with your teeth. If your teeth feel loose, just run super glue along the old gum line, just right down the teeth, and that'll be ready to go. And you can mount how you see fit. I run a piece of wire through the back of mine and a little angle, like I cut a little 2x4 wedge like that, so when they're on the wall, they don't lay flat, because that, I don't know, it's hard to see. Give me just a second. On your wall, a deer skull like that doesn't look as good as one is kicked this way. Kind of shows the rack off better. Here he's like he's looking at the ground and his rack's out front. So I put a little wedge just so when mine's on the wall, they kick up like the rack's supposed to stand. And I also mount them to barn wood like that over there. For some customers that request it, usually they supply the barn wood, because I charge $70 and you get just a skull. That's my how-to video.